Welcome dear student and Jai Swaminarayan. Today in this video we will discuss answer of the question given in the textbook of the chapter number 5, the fundamental unit of the life. So dear student, let us start the first set of the questions given on the page number 59. Two questions given in the page number 59. Who discovered the cell and how? Why is the cell called the structural and the functional unit of the life? So dear student, let us discuss the answer of the question number 1. Who discovered the cell and how? What is the fundamental unit of the life? The fundamental unit of the life is a cell. And first question is that who discovered the cell and how? The cells were discovered by a Robert Hooke in a 1665, right? British botanist the Robert Hooke first were discovered the cell in the 1665, right? He used a primitive microscope to observe the cell in a cork slice. So the Robert Hooke was first observed the cell of the cork slice in the primitive microscope. So dear student, here the cell were first discovered by the Robert Hooke in the 1665. And how he discovered the cell? He used a primitive microscope to observe the cell in a cork site, right? Now question number 2 is why the cell is called the structural and the functional unit of the life. The cell constitutes the various components of the plant and the animals, right? The cells are found in all the plants and all the animals. All the living organism consist of cells, right? So cell constitutes the various components of the plant and the animals. A cell is the smallest unit of the life and is capable of all the living function. A cell is the smallest fundamental unit of the life and it is capable of all the living function. Cells are the building blocks of the life. This is the reason why the cells are referred to a basic structural and the functional unit of the life, right? So cells are the fundamental building blocks of the life and that's why the cell are referred to as a basic structural and the functional unit of the life. The cell performs the different function in our life, right? In our body, in all the living organism, right? All the cells vary in their shape, size and activity they perform. In fact, the shape and the size of the cell is related to the specific function they perform, right? So the structure of the body is depends on the cell, structure of the organ is depends on the cell. Various cells varies in their different shape according to their function, right? So dear student, understand the answer of both the question given on the page number 59. Now next set of the question given on the page number 61, right? So two question given in the page number 61. In that question number 1 is how do substance like a CO2, carbon dioxide and water move in and out of the cell? Discuss, right? So movement of the carbon dioxide gas, oxygen gas in the cell and out of the cell, right? And how the water moves in and out of the cell. So here the cell membrane is selectively permeable and the regulates the movement of the substance in and out of the cell. So for the movement of the substance like a gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, and the movement of the substance like a water is from the cell membrane, and the cell membrane is the selectively permeable and it is regulates the movement of this substance CO2, oxygen, right, carbon dioxide, oxygen, water. The movement of the substance, these substances are regulated by a cell membrane. So first of all we consider the movement of the carbon dioxide. So here the CO2, carbon dioxide is produced during a cellular respiration. Therefore, the carbon dioxide is present in the high concentration inside the cell. Now, this CO2 must be exerted out of the cell, right? So, CO2 during the cellular respiration, the carbon dioxide is produced and in the cell the concentration of the carbon dioxide is more. So, we must have to exert out the carbon dioxide from the cell. So, in the cell's external environment, the concentration of the carbon dioxide is low as compared to the concentration of the carbon dioxide inside the cell. So due to the cellular respiration, the carbon dioxide is produced inside the cell, and due to this the concentration of the carbon dioxide is more inside the cell, while the concentration of the carbon dioxide is low outside the cell. And therefore, due to the principle, according to the principle of the diffusion, the carbon dioxide CO2 moves from the region of the high concentration inside the cell towards a region of the lower concentration outside the cell. Now similarly, O2 enters the cell by the process of the diffusion. How the O2 enters the cell? Due to the process, by the process of the diffusion. So outside in the environmental, the concentration of the oxygen O2 is a more compared to the concentration of the oxygen inside the cell, right? So due to this, due to the process of the diffusion, the oxygen enters into the cell and the carbon dioxide exert out of the cell. So dear student, understand the movement of the carbon dioxide and the oxygen in and out of the cell. Now second is the movement of the water, right? Water moves a region of the high concentration to a region of the low concentration through a plasma membrane, right? The plasma membrane acts as a semi-permeable membrane, and in this movement of the water is known as the osmosis, right? Osmosis, the movement of the water in and out of the cell is due to the process, due to the movement of the water, this process is known as the osmosis. So water moves from a region of the high concentration to the region of the low concentration through the plasma membrane, and the plasma membrane act as a semi permeable membrane, and this movement of the water is known as the osmosis. The movement of the water across the plasma membrane of the cell is affected by the amount of the substance dissolved in the water, right? So by the process of the osmosis, the movement of the water is in and out of the cell. So understand, dear student, how the gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen moves in or out of the cell by the process of the diffusion, and how the water moves in and out of the cell by the process of the osmosis. Now question number 2, why is the plasma membrane called a selectively permeable membrane, right? The cell membrane or the plasma membrane is known as the selectively permeable membrane because it regulates the movement of the substance in and out of the cell. And this means that the plasma membrane allows the entry of only some substances and prevent the movement of the some other material, and that's why the plasma membrane are called the selectively permeable membrane. Now next set of the question is given on the page number 63. One question, difference between the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cells is given in the page number 63. So fill in the gap in the following table illustrating the difference between the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cell. So dear student, here the difference between the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cell is we will discuss in the previous video also. So dear students, see the previous video for the difference between the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cells. So here the size of the prokaryotic is given generally very small, about a 1 to 10 micrometer. 1 micrometer is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 meter, and the size of the eukaryotic cell is a large compared to the prokaryotic, 5 to 100 micrometer. Nuclear region, right? So nuclear region in the prokaryotic cell, the nuclear region is a very poorly defined because of the absence of the nuclear membrane. So the nuclear membrane in the prokaryotic cell is a absence, and the nuclear region is a poor in the prokaryotic cell, whereas in the eukaryotic cell the nuclear region is a well defined and surrounded by a nuclear membrane. So nuclear membrane is present in the eukaryotic cell and the nuclear membrane is absent in the prokaryotic cell. So this is called the nucleoids, right? So the poorly defined nuclear region is poorly defined in the absence of the nuclear membrane and is known as the nucleoids, right? Whereas in the eukaryotic cell, right, the nuclear region is a well defined and the nuclear region is surrounded by a nuclear membranes, right? Chromosomes in the prokaryotic cell, the chromosomes are a single, so more than one chromosomes are present in the eukaryotic cells. Membrane bounded cell organelles absent. So there is no membrane, cell organelle membranes are present in the prokaryotic cell, whereas in the eukaryotic cell the membrane bounded cell organs such as mitochondria, plastids, right, are present in the eukaryotic cell. So dear student, understand the difference between the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. Now next set of the question is given in the page number 65. There are a set of 4 questions given in the page number 65. Question number 1. Can you name the 2 organelles which have studied that contains their own genetic material? Right? So answer is mitochondria and the plastids are the 2 organelles that contains their own genetic material. So here the 2 organelles, mitochondria and the plastids, are the 2 organelles that contains their own genetic material. Both these organelles have their own DNA and the ribosomes, right? So answer is these 2 organelles, mitochondria and the plastids, are the 2 organelles which contains their own genetic material. Now question number 2. If the organization of the cell is destroyed due to some physical and the chemical influence, what will happen? So here the question is that what happens when the organization of the cell is destroyed due to some physical and the chemical influence. So cell is the smallest. So here the cell is the smallest unit of the life, we know that, which is capable of all the living function. If the organization of the cell is destroyed due to the some physical and the chemical influence, then the ability of the cell to perform all the living function such as the respiration, nutrition, extraction, right, would be affected, right? So if the cell organization of the cell is destroyed due to the some physical and the chemical influence, the ability of the cell to perform the different living functions such as the respiration, nutrition, extraction, all other different living function are affected, right? Question number 3. Why are the lysosomes known as the suicide bag? So this we will discuss in the topic of the lysosomes also, right? Why are the lysosomes known as the suicide bags? Lysosomes are the membrane bound vesicular structure that contains the powerful digestive enzymes. These enzymes are capable of breaking down any foreign food, particles or microbes entering the cell. So lysosomes has a very powerful digestive enzyme and these enzymes are used for breaking down any food, particles or microbes entering the cell. Sometimes so here the sometimes the lysosomes can cause the self-destructive of the cell by releasing their digestive enzyme within the cell, and hence the lysosomes are known as the suicide bag, right? So lysosomes are produced by self-destructive of the cell by releasing the digestive enzyme, and due to this the lysosomes are called the suicide bags. Now question number 4. What are the proteins synthesized inside the cell and where are the protein synthesized inside the cell? The ribosomes are the site of the protein synthesis. Ribosomes are very small structure found either in the free state, suspended in the cytoplasm, or attached to the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. Right? They are composed of the ribonucleic acid and the protein. So here the protein are synthesized inside the cell in the ribosomes. Ribosomes we can find in the very small in the structure. Ribosomes are found in the free stage or suspended with the cytoplasm, or ribosomes are also attached to the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, and they contains the ribonucleic acid and the protein. So the protein is synthesized inside the cell in the ribosomes, right? So dear student, understand all the question answer given in the textbook of the chapter number 5.